All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about music and fake news and artificial intelligence all rolled into one exciting video as I talk to you in real time. And basically, just for a few real people out here, just like you and just like me. Don't forget, if you want to support this channel, buy me a coffee. That's it. Buy me a coffee. Also, Patreon, YouTube memberships, and PJ Rock super chats. So I'm getting a lot of comments on the Charlie Kirk stuff about how Bob Seger honored Charlie Kirk. And my first instinct was, is Bob Seger on tour? I thought he was retired. Now, he showed up for a performance recently, I think with a country star, not too long ago. I'm trying to think of her name. I think it's Patty Loveless, who I think is fantastic, by the way. But I can't recall any other recent Bob Seger appearances. So right off the bat, I'm like, Bob Seger is out on the road touring. So I'm getting these comments. Yeah, Bob Seger paid tribute to Charlie Kirk. So the MSM, or the mainstream, just say the mainstream media in general, they don't want a claim like that to be true. So they will work overtime debunking that claim. They won't work quite as hard debunking the claim that Charlie Kirk's shooter was part of MAGA. They won't work that hard to debunk that one. Someone else has to come along and say, nah, I don't know if that's right. It's kind of like the Russiagate thing. The media never owned up to anything about that. Oh, and it's also like COVID, right? Media never owned up to anything about COVID either. So if they're not willing to backtrack or do the old, was it Jen Psaki circle back on COVID or some of these really important issues, they're not gonna care about the shooter, right? They're just gonna let people think the shooter was definitely, that makes so much sense. MAGA shooting on MAGA. That makes so much sense. Anyway, did Bob Seger honor Charlie Kirk with a mid-performance tribute at his concert? No, no, didn't happen. Viral claim debunked, according to this website, which I'm sure is bought and paid for by defense contractors or big pharmaceutical companies or whoever, okay? Insurance companies. Yeah. On the page, there's an ad for Progressive Insurance. So it's a car insurance company. Anyway, Bob Seger has not responded to the rumors about him that are emerging online. Now, I get it. A lot of people want this to be true. But you know why we want it to be true? Because we want to think there are more decent people in the world who would maybe pay tribute to Charlie Kirk, right? Maybe they didn't agree with Charlie, but they would think to themselves, okay, this is wrong. Maybe I should say something, right? The viral rumors stated that the singer requested the general public to maintain a minute of silence for Kirk during a performance at a stadium. All right. If Bob Seger were on tour, I'm sure people would know about it. I mean, even the lazy rock media would get around to talking about old Bob Seger. Apart from Kirk, Seger reportedly expressed grief for the 9/11 victims, which would make sense, right? And would make the story more plausible. The claims were shared through a fan page titled Amplified Souls. Great. So another one of those Facebook pages devoted to, this AI rendering of things that those things aren't actually true. The news of Seger paying tribute to the late political activist is not true. Bob has not addressed anything about Charlie's death through any statements so far, and he has not performed at any stadium recently. On the other hand, Seger himself has yet to respond to the viral reports. Now, think of this new problem this AI-generated crap is causing, okay? Seger, if he responds and says, no, I didn't pay tribute to Charlie, A whole bunch of people are going to be like, what? You jerk. How come you didn't pay tribute? Now, if he comes out and says, no, I didn't pay tribute, but man, this has got to stop, or he makes some kind of statement that's pro anti assassination. Okay. It's pro anti assassination. Um, he's going to get the full weight of the crazy media who are not part of the normal party. Okay. That's my new political party. It's called the Normal Party. And I have a whole party platform. I'm going to be spelling that out in the weeks and months to come. I mean, it's pretty self explanatory. Normal stuff for normal people, normal biology, things like that. All right, so let me continue with this a little bit. But the bottom line is that this didn't happen, and people are making comments on my videos saying, did you hear that Bob Seger paid tribute to Charlie Kirk? And I'm like, really? Because I didn't think Bob Seger was out there on tour. And there's more. There's more on this. So AI slop shows, I don't know what AI slop is, but it sounds good, shows that Springsteen, Dylan, and Robert Plant honoring Charlie Kirk, but it never happened. And this, again, comes from another website called Fast Company. Now, these aren't really big names in social media or any media for that matter, but again, they want to make sure that people don't think that Bruce Springsteen or Bob Dylan or Robert Plant honored Charlie Kirk. And it causes a problem for these people who aren't honoring Charlie Kirk because their fans, I bet you at least half of them, think it would be appropriate to honor Charlie Kirk. It goes on to say, we've all seen the AI-generated Jesus cradling the late conservative pundit Charlie Kirk in his arms and carrying him to the gates of heaven, right? According to a number of Facebook postings, everyone from Bruce Springsteen to Bob Dylan supposedly paused to honor Kirk after the erase right wing and put in normal party activist. Okay? This is where the normal party shines. When people say right wing, you pull the Overton window back to where it belongs and you insert the phrase normal party activist. All right. Just want to clarify. The normal party activist and Turning Point USA founders assassination in Utah earlier this month, according to Rolling Stone. Of course, Rolling Stone wants to debunk that. One post on Facebook titled U.S. News shows a distraught Springsteen laying flowers at a Kirk memorial. Okay, folks, if you think that one is true, then I've got a bridge next to the Sagamore Bridge that I'm going to sell you, and it won't get you over the Cape Cod Canal, but it might get you halfway there. I don't know. Anyway, he took a deep breath, looked toward Kirk's young daughters, and said through shaking words, I've buried friends, I've buried heroes, but watching children lose a father cuts deeper than any song I've ever written. Oh my gosh. All right, you don't need AI to tell you that this never happened. Another post claims that Bob Dylan was performing outside the Turning Point USA headquarters. Now, because people are so gullible, right? And because people are still going to see Frankie Valli in concert and they don't care that he looks like a zombie and he's lip syncing, people will believe anything, all right? Especially if it's on social media. You know, you got your phone and you're doom scrolling and oh, look, Bruce Springsteen paid tribute to Charlie Kirk. I didn't like Springsteen, but now I like him again. No. So when people find out that this isn't true, the artist who they started to like again, they'll hate even more. And this is not a good thing for people who are just remaining neutral on this stuff. Now, I'm not saying you have to weigh in and have an opinion, but if AI is going to take your likeness and it's going to take your voice and it's going to make a statement and it sounds like the person, it looks like the person, folks, this is big trouble for our future. People aren't going to know what a deep fake is versus the real thing. And when it comes to the Charlie Kirk assassination, you would think more people would come out and just say, no, that wasn't me, but man, this is bad. That's all they would have to do. This is bad. I am not pro assassination. I am anti assassination. And political speech needs to be protected, even if I disagree with it. That was the whole point of free speech. It protects the most egregious and insidious kinds of speech, stuff that we don't really like. I mean, you can certainly shame that out of the public square, and financially it might be your ruin, but you don't ban it. You don't get rid of it. And quite honestly, Charlie Kirk was probably the most mild-mannered person to ever do this kind of thing. That's why he was so effective. So anyway, folks, thanks to AI, none of this is true. None of this is true. But people want it to be true, and thus this is what they're doing. They're playing on your empathy. They're playing on your hope that maybe more people will step forward and be normal. But I tell you what, the normal party needs more recruits. And again, that Overton window, when you hear the term right wing, about 98% of the time, you just put in normal party, okay? There is no right wing. There is kind of a left side of the political spectrum, but the right wing is normal, and it's kind of in the middle. It's really in the middle. Normal biology, right? Normal interest rates, normal gas prices, normal grocery prices. I can go down the list of normal things. Normal security when it comes to the border and the inner cities. I mean, normal education, kids learning math and reading and science. Normalcy across the board, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I have for you, the Normal Party USA. And I am the charter. I am the founding member of the charter member. I am Mr. Normal. In addition to being harmless, I am the Normal Party chairman. So, again, if you want to join the Normal Party, right here on this channel, okay? Maybe this will evolve into something real. Who knows? But we really need to move the Overton window back over where it belongs. And the only way we're going to do that is to call out any news outlet that says the term right wing. What's right wing about being pro-life, for instance? What's right wing about that? They're just children. Children are normal, right? Families are normal. Biology is normal. But you know what? You've been convinced for a very long time that you're abnormal for wanting normalcy. So we'll see how this all shakes out. This may be pretty stupid. And yeah, I've been known to delve into stupid before, and people tell me all the time. In fact, they let me know over and over again, repeatedly. It's actually kind of painful. But you know what? Charlie Kirk got shot because he was a normal guy doing normal things. So let's try to make normal great again. All right? Let's try to do that. All right, people. God bless you all. Remember, Jesus does love even the misfits, even the losers, even the people who aren't normal. Jesus loves them. And he wants them to join the Jesus party, which is far more important than the normal party. All right? And that should be everyone's priority. That was Charlie's priority. And he was martyred for his faith. So, again, it's all just really sad and tragic, but we must keep going. And we have to. We're here. We're here for a purpose, and we're here for such a time as this.